I'm Showbiz Shelley here in studio with Cote de Pablo, who stars in the movie The 33, which comes out November 13th, all about the Chilean mine disaster that happened, what was it, like 5 years ago or so?
2010, I think it was.
2010. And this movie, it really gives a lot of insight into what went down when that whole thing happened. I mean, of course, based on the true story. This is crazy.
It's absolutely crazy. I always think of this story as, in many ways, a miracle. You know, because the chances of actually finding these guys alive were slim to none, really. And then the actual rescue took forever. So these guys were out, down there, trapped for 69 days.
And what's amazing is in the movie is they pretty much thought that they were gone, that they didn't make it. And they give them, usually a week or two.
They gave them nothing.
Yeah.
At the beginning. And it's kind of, I can't say it's protocol, but for the most part, when there's a mining accident, there's very little that has been done in the past. I mean, this was an incredible and remarkable story of faith and, story of rescuing these guys and the government helping out and putting all this money so they could actually get them out. I mean, it's all these things came together in such a way that these 33 men, all of them came out alive.
And how much did you know about the story before going into it?
I knew a lot, only because I'm Chilean.
Yes.
And I was actually shooting a show that I did for a long time, NCIS, and I had wrapped early, I think, and I was home. I was in my couch, and I was watching the news, and it was, it was the day they were all coming out. It was a big deal in Chile, and it was a big deal internationally. I didn't know how big of a deal it was until I actually shot the movie, when I was told, do you know that more people watch this than blah, 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 blah. I was like, what? And so then I realized what a huge thing it was and how the world really was captivated by this, by this moment. And when these guys started coming out, I couldn't contain myself. I just started crying, and I just felt so proud that my country could do this,
Yeah.
I say my country because I was born in Chile, but I do feel very American. So I do say the same thing about, about the States. So
sure.
I say the same thing about both countries.
And so in the movie, you play the wife of one of the miners who gets stuck. And so getting to play that role and then being a part of the whole thing after watching it happen in real life, what was that experience like?
Well, it was, first of all, it was a dream.
Yeah.
As an actor, you hope to play very many different characters, and when you are blessed to play a character for a very long time, when that all of a sudden stops and you go, my gosh, can I jump into something else? And then when this kind of came, I jumped into it, and it was shooting in it was shooting in my country, and I was shooting with people that I had loved and admired all my life, and so for me it was a dream. It was an ensemble story. It's an ensemble cast, so. I play a part of telling the story up above with all the women who are constantly trying to remind politicians that they're there, trying to move everything so no one forgets about these 33 men that are trapped down below. And so it was a complicated task. And obviously they're losing hope every single minute because they're being given all sorts of news that at times everything's lost.
Right.
So it was fantastic too because we were shooting with extras, many extras, and many of them actually were family members of the actual miners.
Oh, you're kidding.
No.
Oh, wow.
And so for us, it was trying to understand the ordeal on an emotional level. All we had to do really was turn around and talk to a couple of extras. And they were some of the most incredible people I've worked with because they are not actors, and they weren't there to act at all. The director would every once in a while have to explain what the scene was all about, and they'd look at each other, and tears would just start rolling down their faces.
So many emotions, I'm sure.
Well, because all they had to do was really remember. They weren't trained as actors, like, oh, let me act, let me activate the blah blah blah. They were these, really beautiful, simple people from up north, and all they had to do was just remember, and it was instant. And so for us as actors, watching these people go through reliving an emotion was like a gift.
What an experience.
It makes our job easier.
Of course.
All you have to do is just, turn around and see people go through this emotion.
Yeah, you don't get that all the time.
You know, you're just filled.
Right.
It's great.
You don't get that opportunity as an actor all the time. So
No,
that's tremendous.
not at all. Yeah.
Now, what amazed me too, and I'm wondering what amazed you the most about this story, just how they rationed out the food and just the temperature down there. I mean, what was the part for you that was just like, wow, I can't believe that this actually happened?
Many of, you know, throughout the story, you see many things. And it's a very ambitious story because so many other things happened down there. And because we spent so much time with the actual miners and their families, we got to know so much more.
Yes.
You know, so you wish you had like a 5-hour movie because some of the stories are riveting, you know, but fortunately and unfortunately, you have to cut it down. You have to shrink it, you know. My favorite moments in the movie had to do with, you know, the rationing of the food, dealing with the complexities of human beings in moments of disaster, understanding that some people will go through the best and worst of who they are, you know. And in those 69 days, I remember talking to one miner in particular. He said something that was just shocking to me because most people say, you know, I found the good in me. He looked at me dead in the eye and he said, I came face to face with God and I came face to face with the devil.
Wow.
And I said, what do you mean? And he tried explaining that there are moments that he wished he could, you know, that he wished someone would die so he could eat them. That's how hungry he was.
You're kidding.
No.
Wow.
He was
so these
so
are
hungry.
the types,
These are the things that we don't quite go into the movie. We go into the hunger for sure, and we joke about certain things like, oh, you know, there's one guy that they bully, and you'll see it clearly in the movie. You know, they say, oh, Bolivian meat, you know, tastes really good. You know, and as an audience member, you're like, oh God, that's crazy, you know. But at the same time, these guys were dealing with really heavy duty stuff. Many of them testing their faith down below. Many of them giving up completely. Many of them. You know, one of them, you see it in the movie, steals the food, doesn't care. He's like, I'm hungry and I'm going to eat.
Yes.
You know what I mean? So there are many things that are tackled. And then, of course, I always feel like in this movie, you have two movies. You have the movie that happens in the mine with the 33 men trapped. And then you have the movie up above with all the women who are trying to get, you know, trying to put pressure on the media and the politicians who are there. And for the women, this was very complex because they're being given mixed signals every day.
Yeah.
Oh, we're going to get them. Oh, we didn't work. Oh, we think we hear them. No, I don't think so. So for 69, you know, for many days before they actually find them alive, they're losing hope every other minute. And these are women who are pregnant, who have kids, who are in love with their husbands. There's one that's having the infamous, you know, love affair with the other woman, you know, and all these things are happening. And you forget this was a media circus, actually.
Yes.
You know, and it became like this international story because of everything that came out while these men were down below.
And what's amazing too is at the end, you see all of them. You see all of them, which is really, it's really neat. So,
and even though, you know, life has happened and they've had their troubles, and at the end of the day, they went through an unbelievable experience and of survival, of not giving up, of camaraderie, of brotherhood, and ultimately, I think, of faith. And I think all of them, without exception, understand that what happened was remarkable. That it was. I always, you know, I'm not an incredibly religious person. But God, do I believe in God? And it's kind of like a weird statement. I'm really religious, but oh my Lord, I believe in God. When you hear these kind of stories, you go, how can there not be a God?
Yeah,
you know?
It's amazing, you know. And the other thing I want to mention too, like you said, a lot of people probably know you from NCIS. Do you get all the time, we miss you, Cote?
Yes,
do you?
Yes.
Yes.
I do. I get it all the time. And I have to say that people are really sweet and you know, and they give me hugs. And I have gotten so much love from that show. And I have nothing but the greatest memories, and you know, and I'm still in touch with some of them, and you know, Michael's just delicious, and you know, all that stuff.
And then, are you going to continue, you think, to do movies, or maybe I know you're doing a little more TV too, so a little bit of everything, maybe?
You know, I've been doing. Look, I'm being a little bit picky because I have the luxury of, you know, of having worked for a very long time, and but I can't wait for the right project to come along, and I'm ready, and I'm just so blessed to be able to say I was part of the 33.
Yeah.
And also to have been a part of such a great show like NCIS.
And also I have to tell you, my birthday's today. You're a fellow Scorpio coming up in a couple days on the 12th.
Oh my Lord,
right?
yes.
Now this is huge because it kind of coincides with the movie coming out. So any big plans, or what are you going to be doing?
Oh, you're so sweet. You're the first person.
Really?
Yeah, you got it.
I was like, I have to ask
You know,
her.
it's so funny because when they said the premiere was on the 9th, I said, ooh, just in time for my birthday.
See?
And I thought it was like almost like a gift from, the universe. I read things in a very sort of like esoterical way, if you want to say. So when I heard the premiere was on the 9th, I was like, oh my gosh, yes, that's a gift. Thank you.
See? Yeah. So now you get to get extra pretty, right? It means something a little more.
And the greatest thing is I'm going to see my buddies from the film.
Yes.
I haven't seen Juliet in 2 years. And,
okay.
I haven't seen some of the guys in a very long time. The ones in LA, I've seen more. And Juliet couldn't make it to the big premiere in Chile, which was a huge premiere. It was like the biggest event ever in South America.
Mm-hmm.
And so, she couldn't make it. She was doing a play. So we're going to see her this time around, and Antonio's going to be there, and Rodrigo's going to be there, and so many women from the cast, and Patricia. So it's going to be like a reunion of a really fantastic cast who we all became really close friends.
So like a built-in birthday party.
Yeah.
That's perfect.
Well, yeah, I'm kind of planning one.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
Well, good. It's so great to meet you, and everyone go
Thank
check
you for having
out.
me.
Yes.
And thanks for remembering my birthday.
Oh, of course. Yes. The 33 out in theaters November 13th. Thank you.
Thank you.